Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week I was going through my library, so to speak, and I realized that I have added a few books, and some of them are rather good. And there's a number of books that I've shown in the past that, well, frankly, are gaining a lot of dust on the shelf. So I thought it was time that I do a top 10 books for currency collecting. Top 10 books for currency collecting. Some of these are no brainers you should definitely have on your list. Obviously, those will be at the top portion. Some of these may have been books you've thought about getting. Some are out of print books that are very difficult to get, but nonetheless, if you can find them, you should probably pick them up. Now, I do have an honorable mention as well, and with all the books, I'll show their ISBN numbers so that way you can look them up and hopefully be able to find them. So let's get started. My honorable mention. The reason I call it an honorable mention is because it's not actually a book. It's the Green Sheet. Green Sheet comes out monthly, and what it is basically a wholesale price guide. If you ever take a note to your LCS and try to sell it, they're going to pull out the Green Sheet, and chances are that's the price they're going to offer you. That's why it's considered wholesale pricing. And that's also why so many people look at this when they're at shows trying to figure out if a note is a good deal or not. Essentially, it's the way that you can tell how much a dealer will pay for your stuff. Not necessarily what it's worth, because that's what the dealer is going to pay for it. He's going to sell it for a little more than that. So the retail value, of course, is much higher than what it is in Green Sheet. But if you're looking for a great baseline and looking for a very handy thing to take with you and carry with you, this is a great thing to have. Now, this particular one is August 2020. I have one from August 2019, I think. So this is 2022. So it's like almost a 2 or 3 year difference, if I remember right. And the prices have changed very little, which I found interesting, because what that means is that even though the values of the notes are going up, the amount that coin shops are paying for the notes is staying the same. So yeah, your collection has gained a lot in value, but not necessarily on the selling side. If you just wanted to straight up sell it to a coin shop, that means that, well, if they're buying it for 3-year-old prices and selling it for today's prices, well, you do the math on that one. Anyway, if you're interested in getting the Green Sheet, Green Sheet, presented by CDN Publishing since 1963, and you can get it right here. Let's see, a monthly report on wholesale U.S. currency market. Go to www.greensheet.com, and you can order one of these. Actually, there's one of those. I don't know what's going to happen if I try to film that, but maybe that you can, that'll help you out a little bit as well. So that's my honorable mention. Let's get to the actual top 10. And I'm going to do the best I can with the size of the books and the way that I've got the tripod mounted here. Let's see what happens. Number 10, I have the 100 Greatest American Currency Notes. This is not a price guide. It does have some prices in it, but they are basically just saying auction prices and stuff. What this is this is a list that was put together by Q. David Bowers and David N. Sundman. They actually had a bunch of people send in their ideas on what the top 100 notes should be, and they put together the list based on what everybody else had said. It is a full-color book depicting every single note of the top 100, giving you a little bit of a story, telling you a print run about how many are there. It gives you tons of information on the different notes from the top 100. Some of them are easy to get, some of them are much tougher to get. It lets you know which ones are attainable and which ones aren't. So if you're looking to put together a major collection, what a better guide than this. You get the story behind the notes, you get to see how many are left, and yeah, really cool addition to your collection. So number 10, the 100 Greatest American Currency Notes. And let's see, does it have, this one doesn't have a USBN. Here we go, or ISBN. There's the ISBN number on the book right there. So you can type that in and see if you can find one. Number 10 on the list. This is going to get crowded real quick. Number 9. For the most part, I do US currency, but I do dabble a little bit in world currency. And when I find world currency notes, I do need something to go by. So I've got the standard catalog of world paper money. This particular one is specialized issues, and it is also not the most recent book. I don't do a lot with world money, but it's nice to have this sitting here. These books are enormous. Look at how this is 3 inches thick here. This particular book covers special issues from just about every country you can think of, and many that don't even exist anymore. It's nice to see the values compared to other items in here, if that makes sense to you. You're not necessarily going to figure out the value of a note today, but you are going to understand which notes are more valuable compared to other notes based on the prices. So I wouldn't use this necessarily for a pricing guide. I would use it more as a rarity and popularity guide. This one, like I said, is specialized issues. If there was a volume, this would be volume 1 technically. And you can see I bought this one used for $10. You can usually find these for $5 to $10 at most coin shops in used condition because they are kind of outdated, yet they'll give you all the information you need. That is number 9. Number 8. Volume 2. Volume 2 of World Paper Money. This particular one is general issues of World Paper Money. And if I remember right, this one, yep, here we go. General issues from 1368 to 1960. Yeah, there are notes from 1368. That's where this is going to start off at. I say start off at, but it's not. It goes alphabetical order once again by country. It is black and white, but it does have full pictures of all the different notes that are going to be in here. Once again, if you want to find a note, if you have an obsolete rare world currency note, this would be a great place to start looking to try to identify where it was from and what kind of value it has. And like I said, this along with the other book, you can generally find these used at a decent price. This one here, like I said, volume 2, this is 10th edition. The one I had before was 11th edition. I think I got it for like $5. I mean, a lot of times these are going to be stacked up at your LCS, and they may want to move a couple of the older editions. So yeah, you can probably get them really cheap. So that is number 9. 10, 9, actually it's number 8. Number 7 on the list. Going with volume 3 of World Paper Currency. This is modern issues 1961 to date. So yeah, I think I paid a total of $15 for these 3 volumes. Thousands. I think these are printed on very, very thin paper, and I think there's about 1,000 pages in each. So I got 3,000 pages of information for $15. Definitely worth having in my collection. The hardest part is storing them. So yeah, you're talking once again, modern stuff, 1960 to present. Unfortunately, present in this case is probably only about 2,000. But that's fine, because if you've got newer stuff like that, newer stuff than 2000, you'll probably be able to spend that stuff, which means you just need to know the basic conversion rate. And, well, most people's phone will have that in one app or another. So that is 10, 9, 8, number 7. Number 6 on the list. Prior to the federal government printing money, banks printed their own stuff. And when they did, it was called obsolete currency. Obsolete paper money. This is a guide with prices by Don Kelly. Just an impressive book. This book has all the different banks, all the different denominations, all the different years. Just wrap your brain around this. Every note that you see was in circulation from about 1810 to 1860 at varying different locations in the United States. How would you be able to tell what is good and what is not good? How could you tell which banks were still active and which ones weren't? That is why the federal government stepped in and decided to make currency for the entire country, because this was just not a good way to do it. It's got full color pictures, it's got pricing, it's got rarity listings, it lets you know what's good, what's bad. Just such an incredible wealth of information in this book, and it's also one of the books that is so hard to find. If you can find one of these, definitely want to pick it up. I mean, I'm still talking about the book, and I'm still showing all the different pictures just to give you an idea of how insane it was back then. I don't even think this one's got an ISBN. Nope, it does not. Obsolete Paper Money, A Guide with Prices by Don Kelly. An absolute must if you can pick it up. The book itself is probably worth more money than you're going to pay. I think I paid $75 for it just because it's not out there. You cannot find it. Obsolete Paper Money with Don Kelly. That is number 6, 109876. Number 5, Don Kelly has a great line, and one of his other books is on national banknotes. This is the 6th edition. This is the most recent edition, if I recall. National banknotes, individual banks were able to put money on deposit with the federal government, with the Treasury, and then have notes printed with their bank on it. These were known as nationals. Now, nationals, the money looked the same. The only difference was that individual banks would be the ones that were backing the notes. So yeah, here's a Lazy Deuce, but there could be 100 different banks that were backing different notes. So the Lazy Deuce would look the same. The only difference would be the particular bank itself. This book tackles all of those individual banks. And once again, this book, you can just see if I open it up to a random page here. If I look at the top, where are we at? Washington. And you can see the different counties and different cities that they're talking. They're in alphabetical order. This is Mount Vernon through Rosalia. And all the different banks, there they are. They list the charter numbers. They list the actual number of notes that were out there. They list the values of the different stuff. Here's brownbacks, datebacks, value backs, plain backs, and then the small size notes as well. Just an incredible wealth. Every one of these notes here is a different bank across the U.S. that was allowed to print nationals, or allowed to have nationals printed with their name on it. That's the best way to put it. Such an impressive piece of knowledge here. Any national you come across, you could run across two nationals, two $5 nationals. One could be worth $20, one could be worth $2,000. The only way you're going to know the difference is if you've got a book like this that'll give you some kind of idea on the rarity of that particular bank. So that is number 5, 109876. Number 5, National Banknotes, 6th edition by Don Kelly. Another book, if you can find it, buy it just because they are not around. Number 4. This is the Collector's Guide to Postage and Fractional Currency. Fractionals is a whole separate list of stuff. Now, they are going to be included in some of the major guidebooks. The problem is there are all the different variants, and this book covers all of the different variants. It goes through the print runs, it goes through the different values, tells you how to tell the difference between all the different varieties of these notes, and that's the important part. These were circulated. So being able to distinguish one from the other is extremely difficult. I mean, here's the spinner note, and look at all the different varieties of the spinner note. And yeah, once again, more of the spinner note. These are the greenback spinners. And yeah, there's just so many different variations and varieties. How are you going to know which one you have, or if you have an ultimate rare note? So having a book like this helps you decipher all of that stuff. That would be the Collector's Guide to Postage and Fractional Currency by Robert J. Kravitz. Definitely one you want to get. Oh, this one actually does have an ISBN number. We'll show that one right there for you as well. That is number 4. Number 3, one of my newer editions. This is United States Paper Money Errors, Comprehensive Catalog and Price Guide. The book is not full color, but I don't care. The last few pages are color. But when you're flipping through this, you get to see actual errors. And they don't show you one. They show you numerous errors in different states to give you an idea of how the price would change based on whether it has a single fold, multiple folds, or a major problem like that. And that is cool to see. Just rather than looking at one particular picture, every single example gives you multiple pictures in order to be able to see what they are talking about. The other thing it talks about is There are tables, like tables of mismatched block letters. Here are actual years that you can be looking for to see if you happen to have any of these. There's many tables in here showing all kinds of different things like that. It'll be talking about mules. It'll be talking about bad plate numbers. There's just so much information in this book. You could buy this book and spend all year going through stuff you already have to see if you may have missed errors that they know about, but you didn't know about. So a great addition to your collection, United States paper money errors, and there's the ISBN number for this one if you wanted to check that out as well. This is number 3 on my list. Number 2. The Standard Guide to Small Size U.S. Paper Money, 1928 to date. It says full color. It's not full color. It does have all the different variations of green on the back, so you get to see that. The front does show all the different colors that you can find on the notes. This covers all of small size money. Now, there aren't very many pictures. They're rather generic pictures, but the tables are what is so impressive on these. They tell you the print run size. They tell you what serial number it starts at. They tell you how many were printed of each Federal Reserve. They go through plate numbers. They go through more things than you can imagine. Once again, just another great reference book that you would like to add into your collection. They talk about narrow and wide margins. Here's the narrow face here on this particular one. Just so many different things that you can find in this book. Once again, if you put away older notes and just have them stacked like I do, because anytime I find an old note, I put it away, you get a book like this, and now you know which print runs were short runs. I found a note that had a short print run, and even though it was only $1 note, this book listed it at $175 because that particular block was very rare. So yeah, that paid for this book in and of itself. Now this one's the 10th edition. It was by John Schwartz and Scott Lindquist, and there is the ISBN on this particular note, or on this particular book, if you are trying to find it for yourself. Once again, number 2 on the list, the Standard Guide to Small Size U.S. Paper Money, 1928 to date. And finally, number 1 on the list, you guys know this book. This is Paper Money of the United States. I use this book almost on the daily. This book is full color. It shows all the different types of notes, front and back, different years, gives you ideas on the prices in different grades. There's background on the notes. There's background on the types of notes, how they came to be. Just so much information in this book. This is my go-to. Whenever I get a new note, I am grabbing this book. It deals with colonials, as well as Confederates, as well as fractionals, as well as postal currency, as well as encased postage stamps. Paper Money of the United States is the basic book that you're going to need for anything and everything. The prices are pretty good. This book came out right before the boom in pricing, so the prices here are probably going to be a little bit under compared to what you're seeing at some auctions, but that's a good thing because now you at least have the range to go through. Paper Money of the United States, my ultimate go-to book. There is the ISBN on this particular one, so you can look it up for yourself. Definitely a must-have book. And that finishes my top 10. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. If you have an idea for a top 10 list that one below. Guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.